Well, we are finally live. Hey, everybody, welcome in. Sorry we're running really, really late. We were over with Dan, and we had a great stream over there. I hope you guys all had a good time if you were over there. But welcome in, everybody, to another episode of Sportsnite. But, of course, with everything going on around the world, there's very little sports to talk about, so we're going to continue talking about Disney. And tonight we're going to have an awesome, awesome stream. Of course, my partner channel right over here, Steve, is with me again. Steve, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing fantastic. How are you, my man?
I'm doing good. Glad you're here. I got my head shaved just like you. I took from you. You inspired me to.
I have that effect on people.
But welcome, everybody. I'm glad you're here. We're going to have fun tonight. We're going to do something a little bit different, you and I.
Yes.
You know what? Disney needs changes, and Steve and I are just the guys to do
it. They do indeed.
But they're going to be fun. I think for the most part, they're going to be fun changes. No. And that's what we're going to talk about tonight. But before we do that, real fast, some housekeeping. Of course, thelivestream.com. Check them out over there. Dean over at the Live Place. Great place to go for live streams. Of course, my two partner channels, this guy right over there, Steve's World Monday Nights. And, of course, Dan, who was just on a little bit earlier, on Saturday nights with Disney Fiasco as well. And then other than that, just check out all our other friends. You know who they are. But let's get into this because I know we're running late. I want to say hi to everybody in the chat. Of course, we have Orlando. Mike is here. James Ryan, Candy Mom 15, Captain Akron 27, David Stevens, Donna Jaworski's in the house. Donna, I hope you're doing well. Alex Brunner's here. Mary Spence. Downscale. What's up, Downscale? Good to see you. Mickey's Magic. Blue Nose 352. Chris, how you doing? Russ Stapleton's in the house. Tim Pruitt. Joey's best bud. Keith is here. Alyssa Stenberg is here. Tim Pruitt's in the house. Disney Dan is here. What's up, Dan? Big Noah Mountain 5. Preston McDavid. Preston, good to see you, buddy. Glad your dad's doing well. Rob Fuzz is in the house. Rob, I don't have a horn to do. David Stevens. David, I don't know if I said hi to you or not, buddy, but I want to make sure I get you. And it just jumped on me, Steve.
It likes to do that. Right when you get into it.
Yep. Let's see. Kay Atwood's here. Who else we got? G. Wilson's in the house. Man, it just jumped again. Welcome in, everybody. T. Maria Photography is here. LSU Mom Emily is here as well. And I don't think I missed anybody, Steve. I think that's everybody.
John P. Hazelton is here.
Oh, John's here. John, good to see you too, buddy. Welcome in. Hope you're doing well. But everybody, welcome in. And tonight, Steve and I, we're going to make some changes to Walt Disney World. I think these are going to be fun. I think a lot of mine are going to be fun changes, but I definitely want your opinion, Steve, on some of these.
Of course.
And we're going to go park by park. It can be all kinds of different changes. It could be food. It could be rides. It could be attractions. It could be whatever. Maybe the times of the parks. Maybe you want the parks to be shorter or longer. Whatever you want. That's what the changes are going to be. Steve, you're going to go first. Let's start with the big one. Let's go to Magic Kingdom. We're going to start there. And any kind of changes that you want to make. What do you want to make it at the Magic Kingdom?
Okay, so at the Magic Kingdom, we need to things, and one of the things that I want changed is it's in Fantasyland. What's the circus? The Big Top Circus, whatever it's called.
Oh yeah, Storybook Circus.
Storybook Circus.
Okay.
I'm not loving the theme of this, and I understand it's for little kids, but we could do so much more. It could be Fantasyland still, and it could be so much more, but there's Magic Kingdom is all about rides that are good for kids. You have the carpet rides. You have this spaced out through there. We don't need a little section like this that is 100% dedicated. Like it's got like the Donald's boat, which is kind of cool, but the Barnstormer and things like this, it needs a little upgrade. It needs a little bit more adventure into it. It needs a little bit of it just needs something. I don't go there, so I don't go to the Storybook Circus at all. And I miss it. I missed it when they used to be Mickey and Minnie's houses were there. That was intriguing. You could go interact with things. I just find the circus boring.
Okay. I get what you're saying. Look, me too. I do as well. But I understand its purpose over there. They've always had that area as the circus area. I mean, it was that way before they even did New Fantasyland. So I get that they have it over there and the purpose of it. If I had little kids still, maybe I would find it a little bit more appealing. I agree with you. Melissa loves the Big Top Souvenir Store, though. And I do like the characters that they have in there, like the Great Goofini and Donald dressed with the snakes and all as a magician. I do like that part, but I get what you're saying. It's not appealing to those that either A, maybe do not have kids, or B, their kids are grown. So I get it.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely. Sure.
And it doesn't draw enough people away from the other rides that I wish they would. So
no, it's true. It's true. Let me ask you this: if you had to change it, what would you put over there?
you could still go with something like a Fantasyland, but move your fairy tale princess meet and greets over there. You could definitely use a Tangled ride of some sorts. You could move the Tangled Tower over a little bit more. I mean, I know it's a lot to move things, but it could be strictly like a princess area. And you could have rides. They don't have to all be good. I mean, you could bring back Snow White's, the dark ride, Snow White's Adventure, or whatever it was.
Scary Adventures.
Scary Adventure. That's what it's called.
Ride.
And you could bring those back and have all your meet and greet princesses. You could build a castle back there and have all the meet and greets in it.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, there's a lot they could do with that. Gotcha. Well, one of the first things I'm going to do at Magic Kingdom, and I'm going to do this across all the parks, is, and maybe this isn't cost effective, but I think sometimes the parks are closed way too early. We see parks closing at 8, 9 o'clock. My hours are 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. every day, if not longer. I don't think I want to go open earlier than 8 a.m. unless it's like extra morning hours or something like that. But I like the hours of 8 to 10 if we can do it. I think sometimes the park closes a little bit early. And so that's my first change is I want a little bit more of a consistency with the hours. I mean, you get the inconsistency a little too much for me. And I want to say hi to Viapre Project, Ed and Mindy.
Ed Mindy. So, and I agree with that, but I do agree with the fact that I think that all the parks should close at the same time because look, I get the extra magic hours and things like that, but if it's the only thing open, that's where everybody's going to be, and it's not enjoyable. So I agree with that, and the fact of making them all close at the same time.
Yeah, no, I agree. I like that too because ultimately, what that'll do is, well, I don't know. Part of me, like I've done it in the past, Steve, and I'm sure you've done it. I'll be over at Animal Kingdom and it closes at 8. Magic Kingdom doesn't close till 11.
Yep.
Over to Magic.
And everybody does that. So then it becomes overcrowded. It's not as enjoyable.
Yeah, I agree. Nick, Magical News Live. Jumbo, Nick, good to see you, buddy. Welcome in. No, I get what you're saying. And I have no problem with them really making their continuity of the parks. I agree with that, Steve. If they said they all close at 10, I'm okay with that. Yeah, I have no problem with that, too. So, any others for you over at Magic Kingdom or just that?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, what's next?
Tomorrowland. Bye-bye Carousel of Progress. It's terrible. And I don't even think if they updated the last scene to be more concurrent. It is with the air-conditioned building that I go take my 45-minute nap in if I need one because that's how long the show is, I think. And it's historical, but I wish they would put that in a museum somewhere and you can go right at the museum because that is a terrible ride. Okay. All right. Gotcha. Now, I like it because obviously, you know me, I like nostalgia anyway, but I get the purpose of it. It's talking about progress. It's talking about the turn of the century to what's supposed to be now. I agree with you, Steve. I don't want it to go away. Okay, and that's cool. I totally get that. I just wish they would update the last scene to make it a little bit more modern. Then I think it brings a little bit more relevancy to it. I think it's just too long too. It's way too long, and I fall asleep after you've been in the heat every day. A lot of people, every time I go on that ride, there's people sleeping. They fall asleep on the thing. It's not entertaining. It's nostalgic for nostalgic purposes only is why it's there. That is the only reason why that thing exists. You try to build that today and modernize it up, I don't care. You build that ride today, it will fail immediately.
Gotcha. No, I agree. Mickey Fan 71, aka Lisa, welcome in. Good to see you. I agree with you, Steve, but part of the history is what helps to keep it around.
That's the only thing keeping it around.
Right.
In my opinion.
Well, and that's true. And there's parts to that I think are true as well. James Ryan says Carousel of Progress is the last link to a project Walt worked on. I would keep it for historic reasons, but would update the last phase. So there you go. So a little bit of both worlds there. But I get that. Look, you're not alone.
Oh no,
there are millions of people that want to get rid of it.
There is a historical value to it. It belongs in a museum somewhere. I've said that for a long time. They should be putting all these things in a museum somewhere. If somebody wants to go visit them, they can. For a theme park and the way it is and everything that's about this thing, it's the place I go take naps.
You see, well, that's and Russ makes a good point. He says that's where he goes for the Hall of Snoozins.
And see, I find that's historical too, but I like that because they update it every year or every 4 years. I'm sorry.
Kind of. I mean, I get what you're saying. They do update it, but really the only thing they're updating is the one president. I mean, they're not updating all of it.
The thing I think that ride has effect on people though is that it's not really Disney; it's more historical value, and I think Hall of Presidents is fantastic.
Gotcha.
But
I think Carousel of Progress is historical because that's what it's doing. It's talking to you about progress over time. And the 20th century to now, the 1900s to now is when the most progress in the world has ever taken place, especially in the technology, from the 1900s to now. So, but I get what you're saying. There's a lot of people that say that. So next thing for me, I'm changing. I'm adding. We need a nighttime parade. I'm sorry.
Well, 100%.
We got to have a nighttime parade. I don't know what they're waiting on. I don't care what it is at this point. I'm sure it'll be fantastic. I want a nighttime parade. End of story.
Yep.
I don't even care what it is, Steve. They could bring back Spectrum Magic. They could bring back a Main Street Electrical. I don't care. I want a nighttime parade. What do you think?
Yep. Oh, I think it's fantastic. And I think it could be something new. Yeah, I don't care what it is, but there is that the Spectro, whatever it's called. I can't remember what it's called.
Spectrum Magic.
Yes. And what was the other one?
Main Street Electrical Parade.
Main Street Electrical Parade. That one had fantastic music. It was done very well. I love that parade. I think
my favorite.
Easily they could bring that back.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So that's the next one for me. Just an addition. One of the great things about being at the park at night was the parade at night. It just
100%.
It made it that much more magical. Can you imagine having a new parade and Happily Ever After in the same night every night?
Yep.
Holy macaroni! It would be awesome, wouldn't it?
Yep.
So that was next for me. Is we need a nighttime parade. Anything else for you in Magic Kingdom? I got
one
more.
I got another one. Then we need to take Tomorrowland, rip it up. I'm sorry, not Tomorrowland. The Speedway, rip it up, and there's lots of room for way more things there. Number one, it's not good for the environment. It's not good for a lot of things. But how many more do you have in Magic Kingdom?
I have 3 more, but they're quick.
So I'm going to leave. I'll just leave this at this. Then they just need to rip that up and put something else in.
Right. That was one of my 3. I agree with you. I want a Wally ride over there, though.
It could be anything, but it doesn't even have to take up that much space. I mean, you look how big Space Mountain is. You could put 4 Space Mountains in that area.
Right.
I mean, there's room for stuff to go there.
Yeah. But I want some sort of Wally ride in that space. Whatever else goes with it, that's fine. The other 2 things that I had on my list, we need some better offerings for table service at Magic Kingdom in some way, shape, or form. And then last but not least, I'm going to go special events here. We have the Halloween party and the Christmas party. Mm-hmm. They're becoming way too crowded, in my opinion, to the point that they don't feel special. It just feels like another day at the park almost. I would change it where less people were allowed in to make it feel like a special event again.
Yeah,
a la Moonlight Magic, a la After Hours, something like that.
I would pay more. I would raise the price and pay more to be able to have less people. 100%
agree. I would pay more if it meant you take 5,000 less people in that park.
Yep.
It would feel so much more like a special event.
Yep. And real quick, the last thing I had there, what I was going to say in place of Tomorrowland too, one of the things I think that Magic Kingdom lacks is shows. Extremely bad. Like you have shows everywhere else. You have the Beauty and the Beast show at Hollywood Studios. You got the Lion King Festival of Lion King over at Animal Kingdom. You have all the shows at Epcot, and I think that there's a real lack for some really good quality shows at the Magic Kingdom, and you could do phenomenal shows there because that's obviously
it's the
Magic Kingdom
park. Yeah, I agree. Timothy Rainwaters, welcome in, buddy. Good to see you.
What's up?
I agree with you 100%, Steve. I think the shows have to be better at the Magic Kingdom. I like the Main Street Trolley Show. I think it's fun. But
I like those little shows. Don't get me wrong. I think we need a theater type show.
We don't have one.
That's what I'm saying. That's what we need. We need that maybe where Tomorrowland is. Separate Tomorrowland, or I'm sorry, it's the Speedway. Half of it can go to like a Wally ride type thing, and then you start Fantasyland. You add on to Fantasyland, put the theater there, and show some kind of some kind of princess show or something. It would be. We need something big there.
Yep, and Russ makes a very good point. He says it right here. Remember when they were going to build the Main Street Theater?
Yes.
That would have fit everything you're talking about, Steve. We would have had Broadway type shows all the time. And now they canceled it. It was there. It was right there for the taking.
And to be clear, like Tina says, there are already 2 stages. Use them. I don't want the castle stage shows. I want to go to an amphitheater that I can sit down in, that could be enclosed, and watch a show like I can the Festival of the Lion King. That's what I want to go see.
Yeah, I agree. Surya Myers, welcome in. Surya, good to see you. 100% agreed, Steve. Steve, what's wrong? We're on the same page tonight.
Are we okay? What's happening?
I know. Well, that's it for me over at the Magic Kingdom. I think we've changed enough over there. And now Magic Kingdom is going to become Walcott with all our changes. Amy, AGC Magic TV, welcome in. Good to see you. Steve, let's head over to Epcot.
Okay.
What's your first change you're going to make over there?
First change I'm going to make is I think the World Showcase is incredible. And I know they're doing a lot of work over here, so it's going to be harder to do. But I believe the way I looked at it, you could fit up to 6 more countries in there. Okay. And, I mean, I know people are going to be mad, but you can take out the outpost, the African outpost.
I agree.
And between China and Germany, there's room for 3. And easily 3. Then there's obviously room between Germany and Italy because that's where the rumored one is going. There's room between Japan and Morocco and between Morocco and France. And then maybe possibly between Mexico and Norway. You got to look at the fronts where they all come in because they expand out backwards. You can go back into them and have plenty of room. So there's room for expansion. I think we need to incorporate more countries. And at the same time, I think we need to add rides into each country like we're doing with Ratatouille.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
so
I agree.
Basically an overhaul of the countries.
Okay. I'm going to touch on that. I agree 100%. I'm actually going to add 2 countries. That was part of what I was going to do. Mm-hmm. I was going to add Brazil and New Zealand.
Yep.
I think Brazil we all know about. I agreed with it. But I'm going to go a little bit different. I'm going to say New Zealand. Mm-hmm. And maybe they could throw a little Lord of the Rings in there because that is where they produce the movies.
Look, they passed on Harry Potter, but they could easily add Lord of the Rings here. Easily.
That would be fun. But I agree with you. I think they could incorporate more countries. And I actually went a step further, and I'm saying New Zealand and Brazil. Yep. Bill Steffen, welcome in. What else? What else are you going to change over there?
So there's a lot of room for expansions, and I think Epcot is technically to me Epcot is kind of like your Tomorrowland. It's what's coming in futuristic things. But what I would like to see them build is a pavilion off. I mean, you got plenty of room between over in Future World West between the Nemo and the land if you do it right. There's a whole gap there that it goes back again. It's all about how you get there from the front. Once you get there, you can expand into the back. But I think the Epcot show there, the Epcot project is probably my favorite thing at Epcot right now. When you go to a 3D room and you see the possibilities they do, I would like to see them take that show and do it with Disney IP and futuristic stuff and make it a permanent show. And you could put it back there, like I said, by the land or the seas.
That's a good idea. Yeah, you could definitely do that. Absolutely. That's a good idea. Richard, welcome in. The legend, R. Johns is here. What's up, Richard?
Richard.
I love that idea, Steve. Now, are we taking anything out to do that, or this is strictly an ad for you?
You don't even need it. There is so much room between the. Okay. It's not at the front, but once you get there, you got to remember when you walk to Epcot, one of the land is dead ahead, the other one's straight to the right. So they close those gaps, but in between those two is all open space when you get past the front.
Gotcha. Melissa Gover, welcome in. I think this is her first time. She must be new. Yeah. Well, next one for me, we're going to make some changes. Mission Space is going to be gone.
Ooh.
I'm not a fan of Mission Space. I think it's a waste of space. I'm sorry if you're a Mission Space fan, folks. I'm going to put a Treasure Planet dark ride here.
Ooh.
No Treasure Planet. No Treasure Planet anywhere in any of the parks represented. I think it fits well there, and I think it would be dark. I want to do a dark ride. I want to do a trackless dark ride. Now, how it's going to be themed, I haven't really gotten into that, but I think it would be a good way to incorporate a less popular movie to see if it could get any legs, and that's what I would do with the area. For me,
I think it's fantastic. I do like Treasure Planet. It's one of the most underrated movies, but I think they could do some real good with that. And Mission Space, like you either like it or you don't, and that's one of those. I think less people like it than hate it, and I personally like it. I think it's fantastic, but it's also I think it's unique in that you can have 2 ride experiences based on the intensity. But that's the problem is nobody rides the intense ride. And if you would, some people can't handle that. I get it. Right. But it's really, really good. And I like the whole concept of it, and I think it fits very well within Epcot. But at the same time, I would love to see a Treasure Planet ride.
Yeah, it could definitely happen. Yep, all kinds. Joey's World says, look, this is easy. Number 1, moving sidewalks in every park. Number 2, put the Osborne lights somewhere. Number 3, put British Revolution on stage at the American stage. Done. Mic drop.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that's so funny. Russ says, I want a space pavilion. With the new technology of space and where we are going with space exploration, get SpaceX and NASA to sponsor. It can happen. You got you got Space 220 coming. That won't be long.
Yep.
So yeah, Treasure Planet takes the place of Mission Space for me. Steve, you got any others for Epcot? I got a couple more.
Number 1, I think one of Walt's visions was this was supposed to be the experimental prototype community model, and I think that right outside the park, they could do some real good. And I actually thought they were going to do it. I heard Corey say this too a while back. But there was a bunch of walls going up right outside the park, like not where the parking lot is, but right across the road from that. And I was hoping they would build a new hotel there. And the reason why is because it could become part of the whole community experience as well, similar to what they're doing with the Star Wars. I would like to see them build a hotel here that would integrate some of the new technologies. Like you see things when you go to Spaceship Earth. Mm-hmm. And you come down, and some of those technologies, as you pick your choices when you're coming back down, they could integrate that in with the hotel, and then of course create some kind of futuristic space, whatever experience with that, the restaurant, and then the if they did a space pavilion right there, I like that idea. You could have the same similar kind of experience there. Yeah,
absolutely, that would work. It would be really cool if they could get a hotel that's. I wasn't going to put this on my list, but a hotel, something like that. That's nations generated, different. In other words, World Showcase type hotel where different floors are different countries. Mm-hmm. Does that make sense?
Yeah. No, I get it. Different
like
theming, different theming, and
different
restaurants on each floor. I get it.
Or something. I mean, I think they could do that, but that didn't make my list. But it just popped into my head. I was thinking about something like that earlier. But the next one for me, another change. A lot of people may not like this. But I'm bringing back Soarin' over California. I like that one so much better than Soarin' around the world. I don't know why. Again, it could be just nostalgia in me. But I really enjoy Soarin' over California better. I like the smells. I like the music a little bit better. I just liked it better. So we're bringing Soarin' over California back. Sorry if you like the new one.
I get it. I get it, man.
Either that or like special times it comes back, Steve. Like maybe it comes back in June or it comes back in August, certain months where it's just comes back for a little while. Yeah. Any other for you? I got one more.
I got two more. One of them's real quick. I would love, I think, and this is going to be typical of all my the rest of the parks. I think this needs a parade badly, and I wish they would bring back the Tapestry of Nations parade. I think that was an incredible parade. Mm-hmm. I understand. I'm okay with change. I'm okay with bringing back a totally new parade, but
something similar.
I think they need a parade here, and I think they should have a parade in every park because it works. And this is one I think we need a parade. And then the last thing I had is I also think, like you said, with the parties, and there's 3 festivals now, 3 big festivals in the Flower and Garden, the Food and Wine, and the Festival of the Arts. Technically, we have the holidays, so that's kind of there, but there's a gap between Food and Wine and the Flower and Garden Festival, and I think we need to fill that with another festival. I think festivals, they should leave the food booths year round, and they can change them up a little bit. They want to change the theming of them or change not countries, but something else. That's fine with me. But I think we need to have year-round festivals. And I think it's Disney has the power to do it overnight too.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that idea. Brian, welcome in, buddy. Brian Eisenhart is here, and Avery, the Cuban America, is here as well. Good to see you guys. Thanks for being here. Steve, I agree with both of them. I'm going to touch a little bit on the one you said about the festival stuff. That was my last one, but a little bit different. I'm not adding a festival. I am expanding the Festival of the Arts.
Oh, that needs to happen for sure.
Yeah, 100%. I'm expanding the Festival of the Arts a little bit further than it is right now, probably maybe by a month.
Yep.
That helps to take up some of that gap that you're talking about. It doesn't quite take all of it up, but it takes up a lot. It takes up another month of it.
It does if you push the Flower and Garden Festival out.
That's what I mean. Yep. We're pushing everything back, so it takes up that space. But I think Festival of the Arts, which I think will be my favorite too, Steve, when I go this year.
It's good, man.
I think it's going to be my favorite too. I think that needs to be expanded. So that was my last one.
I would agree with that. That's man, that's such a good festival. I'm so glad because I can't even fathom the fact that they used to only do it twice a week. I think it was.
Mm-hmm.
Now, don't get me wrong. There's a lot of performers. There's a lot of performers now. It was open for the longest period it's been. It's open 7 days a week, and it was like 3 or 4 weeks this year. It needs to go to 2 months for sure. It's an incredible. Now, there's a lot of work. Don't get me wrong. Every day they got to put all the stuff away for the painting so it doesn't get ruined by weather. And there's a lot of work. But you don't even have to have the same artist out there. You could change up so many different artists. They have sidewalk. I mean, it's an incredible festival.
Yeah, I agree. I agree 100%. All right, let's head on over to Animal Kingdom. I want to save Hollywood Studios for last because that's the park that's really gotten the most love over the last year and a half or 2 years.
Yep.
So we'll save that one for last, and we'll go on over to Animal Kingdom because I got a few things to say over here. What do you say first, Steve? What are you changing?
So the first thing I'm changing is, besides the fact that there needs to be a parade, is going to be the fact that we need the Skyliner. We need it bad here. The Skyliner needs to connect to all 4 parks, and this park, along with the resorts that surround it, are so far out of everything else that it takes forever to get to. But a Skyliner that never stops that can, well, unless you have an emergency, but a Skyliner that never stops that would take you directly there or directly to, the area per se. It could even just go to one of the all-star resorts. I don't care, but it has to go there because that is the only way to travel at Disney. If you've been on it, it is incredibly easy to get on and go.
It's pretty awesome.
They need something bad down here, and that would be the solution, I think.
Yeah. Well, the only way to get to Animal Kingdom is bus. That's it.
Yep, or drive.
That's it. That's that bus or drive. That's it. So I agree with you 100%. I agree. Christy's Corner, welcome in, Christy. Good to see you. Great idea, Steve, for sure. First thing for me at Animal Kingdom. Don't get mad at me, guys, but we're going to get rid of Dino Land.
That was next on my list.
Yep. Dino Land is going to be removed, but it's going to be removed for a new Indiana Jones area for me. Okay? I think Indiana Jones fits well here. He's been to Africa. He's been to Asia. He's been all over. And we're going to reimagine the dinosaur ride to an Indiana Jones ride, but it's going to be different. I know it's the same track layout as the ride in California. We're not doing that. We're not copycatting. We're going to do a different track layout. It's going to be a trackless ride. It's going to have a drop in it. Think Rise of the Resistance, but Indiana Jones, where it's going to have different features to the ride. And it's going to be a really cool Indiana Jones ride. I think that's the area we need over there with a restaurant and a quick service right there.
I think similarly that Dino Land needs to go. But I think Indiana Jones absolutely does not fit here. I think Indiana Jones has a place at Hollywood Studios.
Really? Okay.
I do not think it belongs in Animal Kingdom. It has no involvement with animals whatsoever.
Even I just like the jungle aspect of it.
I get that part of it, but in fact, the way I look at it is this kingdom is all about animals, and there would be a whole entire land with nothing about animals in it. I just don't even see how you can incorporate animals in there. On the flip side of that, what I want, I don't think would work either, and that's Zootopia. I want it to be turned into a Zootopia land. But I don't think that would work either because Walt didn't want animals walking around in clothes and stuff like that. However, we do it with Mickey Mouse and Minnie Mouse and Donald and everybody else does it. So I have no reason to understand why anybody would have a fit over bringing in a Zootopia ride, a Zootopia land. You got all kinds of aspects from that movie that, first off, you could be selling the popsicles. That's an easy sell. You could integrate the scene where the animal, that I can't remember, I think it was a lion or a jaguar or something, that goes a little rabid because of the shots or whatever. You could have that whole bridge scene as maybe a trackless ride or some kind of ride in there with that where dinosaurs at. Right. There's a lot, and then you could, of course, any of the characters, Nick and Judy meet and greets. You could take care of the whole aspect with that one land, and I think that's what I would change it to.
Gotcha. Nope. Christy said something. I think they need to do Marvel's Black Panther land in Animal Kingdom. They could. I think that could go over where Rafiki's Planet Watch is personally. That's a kind of an isolated area that you have to drive to get to. They could do that over there. I do agree with that. But I get what you're saying, Steve. I I have no problem with it if they put Zootopia over there as well. I think it would work. I was going to say Zootopia, but they're doing a Zootopia area in one of the other parks around the world, and I didn't want to do that.
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
I didn't know that, but I think it would still fit better in Animal Kingdom than anywhere else around the world.
Yeah. I mean, you're talking about animals. I totally get that. Yep, I agree. Yep. So that was mine, Dinoland. What about? Oh, you said that was also on yours. Was that next for you?
So technically, Dinoland was next on mine, but I would replace it with Zootopia, like you were just talking about. So
okay. Well, next for me, this is going to hurt, but I really think we need to do it. We need to shut down Expedition Everest, and we need to get the Yeti working. I'm sorry, but the whole point of the Yeti is that he's supposed to be moving to make it realistic and to make it more thrilling. Yep. And he just stands there. It's cool to see him, but I want to see the arm waving like he's trying to get me. Even if they have to upgrade it, I'm fine. Take it down for 3 months, 6 months. It's going to sting. But you know what? If you can bring it back better than ever, I want the Yeti working again. That's what I'm doing. I'm taking it down.
Yep. I've got no problem with that whatsoever. I mean, I don't want to take it down. I would take the ride down to fix it and then bring it back up.
Right.
Yeah, the ride's got to stay, though. So.
Oh, yeah. No, the ride's not going anywhere, but it's refurb time is what I mean.
Yeah, it's definitely refurb time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Hashtag fix the Yeti from Donna. It's true.
So my next fix is going to be the bird show. And I think they need to do away with the bird show and incorporate it with other types of animals. Birds are boring to people as much as they've tried to incorporate Up and Kevin. I think the bird show, by the way, is fantastic, but it doesn't draw people, and it's just not as entertaining as people would like it. But you bring in some guy that, like, I know he's not here anymore, but the Crocodile Hunter, or some guy with that personality showing off, like the guy that does the late night shows, the Jack something or other. He does
Jack Hanna.
He does all these shows with these wild animals. Bring those different animals in here that people are going to be like, oh, that's amazing, as opposed to, oh, it's birds and they're flying again. Don't get me wrong, the birds are great, but the bird show is really tired. And even though they tried to upgrade it with Up, they should do a exotic animal show here.
Yeah, they could definitely do that. Absolutely. By the way, welcome in, Mike Wheeler. Good to see you, buddy.
Hey, Mike.
I agree, Steve. I have no problem with that. I really enjoy the bird show. I enjoyed the first one better.
Really?
Oh yeah, the first one was really funny. The tourist guy, I can't think of his name. I'm sure people will remember it in the chat. If you remember that guy's name in the chat from the original bird show, let me know. I can't remember his name now, but I like that.
I know a lot of people don't like it, but I love Disney IP. I go to Disney because I fell in love with Disney IP, so I'm okay with them plastering the IP in there.
Oh, Guano Joe. That was his name. Guano.
Guano
Joe was his name. He was funny. He was funny. But I agree with that. I have no problem with it. They could get like somebody like Jack Hanna or something like that. Even if they just call it the Jack Hanna show, even if he's not there all the time.
Yeah.
I know it can't be. But they have somebody that brings in like exotic animals. I'm all for that.
Yep.
Absolutely. That would work. Yep, that would work for sure. Well, next on my list, we need virtual queuing for the safari.
Really?
I want virtual queuing for the safari. I want less. How do I say this? I want less Jeeps on the road. Sometimes it can. I've seen it where the Jeeps are backed up and they're backed up and they're backed up. I want virtual queuing over there, so I don't have to stand out in that outdoor queue where it's hot as anything. Even if you have fast pass, it can be long from time to time. And I want virtual queuing at this one, and that means less Jeeps, and you can maybe stay on the roads a little bit longer because sometimes they just fly through it. I would really like to get to the Savannah part and just park there for like 5 minutes. Just give me 5 minutes. So that was next for me.
I want to do away with every aspect of virtual queues. I think it hurts crowd control. I think it obviously causes people to go do other things. And for me, it's beneficial if I got it. Don't get me wrong, but if anything, I would like to see them expand Kilimanjaro safaris. They have the room to do it. Add more animals, add more sections, add a Arctic type thing with penguins and stuff that you can see somehow. I know it's the African safari, but there's ways we could figure it out. But there's other aspects you could add make it longer to spread out the Jeeps as opposed to virtual queue for me, because I hate the virtual queues. I think they're terrible for crowd control and for I'd rather stand in a line than have a ticket that says that and then go back to my time. Don't get me wrong, that's good, but if everybody else is doing it, it's absolutely killing the lines.
Virtual queuing is basically like FastPass. I mean, that's what FastPass is. You go when it's your time.
But you got to go and you got to stand in line. With virtual queues, it's like you're out in the park doing something else, and again, you're not. At least FastPass is queuing you to here. You go here.
Right. No, I understand. I understand. And Christy's Corner says those Jeeps get backed up because when the animals are moving, the drivers stay put. Yep. That's true. I understand that. But you have so many Jeeps that it's going to back. If one or two get backed up, it backs up the rest of them a ton, and it really slows it down. If you have less Jeeps, you get. I don't know. I get what you're saying. She's 100% correct. Yep. That's what I would want. I think virtual queues, I hate to say it, Steve, I think they're coming.
Yeah, it'll disappoint me greatly. I think it's terrible. I think it's just absolutely terrible.
Yeah. Oh, and it's definitely not good for crowd control because people aren't in line.
Exactly.
They're out in the parks.
And we're already overcrowded anyways.
Right. Oh, I agree. Oh, no, I get what you're saying, but I think there's certain times and places for certain rides that can use it. I don't think all the rides should have it. But I think certain ones it can work for. But I get what you're right, 100%. I mean, if they're not, where are you going to put all these people if they're not waiting in lines?
Exactly.
So I agree. You have any more over there at Animal Kingdom? I actually didn't.
Yeah, I'll go with one more. And I think they need to expand to different types of animals. So, and if, like I said, the penguins or something like that didn't work there, there's plenty of room. There's so much land at Animal Kingdom they could go to that they could add more types of animals, as long as it stays animal themed for me and there's interaction with animals and done the right way and the proper habitats and they're cared for the right way. But I would also like to see not only them expand different lands and other things, or incorporate other lands like Pandora or Zootopia, but they could also do some more educational things like that. Because if there's one thing across all of Disney World that's going to be educational that people are going to like, and I know the land is popular, but it's going to be animals. And that's why I think an exotic animal show where somebody's telling you about the animals would work. I think they should get more involved in the care for animals and how they care for. What was that?
That's okay.
And how they care for them and so forth.
Gotcha. And Tina, I get what you're saying. It reduces lines, though, and will help with social distancing. Also, as far as where would they be? Eating and shopping, of course. Not necessarily. I mean, you think.
They'd be in lines for the other rides.
Yeah, I mean, not necessarily. I mean, people are going to shop when they want to shop. And most people shop at the end of the night.
Yep.
And they eat when they're ready to eat.
Yep.
So, I mean, if I'm not into parks, if I'm not hungry, I'm not hungry.
Well, a prime example of this is Rise of Resistance. It's a virtual queue that you go in. Everybody goes in the minute. You got to wake up early to get a pass. And then what do? You go ride other stuff until your queue comes up.
Yeah.
So it's dry. If you don't have a line here and you take all those people that are supposed to be in this line, they're spread out amongst all the other lines, making every other one bigger.
Gotcha. No, I agree. Welcome in, Charlie and Stacy, the Disney Nerd Herders. Welcome in. Hope you're doing well. And somebody else came in. Ray J's here. Ray J, good to see you. Hope you're doing well as well. I agree, Steve, 100%. But I get it. I mean, virtual queues, there's pros and cons. Probably more cons than pros. But, Yep, I agree. All right, that's it. I didn't have any more at Animal Kingdom, but I do want to head on over to Hollywood Studios because I have a couple over there. But we'll start with you, Steve. What are we changing first, buddy?
So the first thing we're changing is expansion. We need to expand this park. It's not big. In my opinion, it's not very big. And
they just added 23 acres to Galaxy's.
Okay, that's a land. I get that. But they have an area at least twice, if not three times that size available between Toy Story Land all the way over to Sunset Boulevard behind Animation Courtyard. That is all land that is, I mean, it would almost fill in an entire circle for Hollywood Studios too. So with that said, I think it needs to be laid out a little better. But there is land back there, and I'm kind of probably stealing 3 or 4 here. There's land back there though for an Avengers, a Marvel land, a superhero land of some sort. There's land back there for some sort of movie land where you can, you're experiencing through the movies, kind of like the Great Movie Ride. I think they should bring something back for those people that love that ride, but it needs to be updated and it needs to be modern. But something to do with those kind of, there's huge possibilities for expansions, anything that has to do with movies whatsoever. But I think an Avengers superheroes movie of some sort would be fantastic. And then I think there should be some sort of movie experience where it puts you back in the movies. That's what the whole process was supposed to be, being a studio. I know they're trying to get away from that idea, but at least some aspect of movies there, because that's what the whole thing's about.
Yeah, no, I agree. That was the original purpose of Hollywood Studios, was it was supposed to be a working studio.
And the Backlot Tours was
behind
phenomenal.
The scenes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that was the whole point of it. So I agree with you. I think what they're trying to do is change that aspect from being behind the scenes to being in the movie.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I'm good with that.
Yeah, and that's where they're going with it. So first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to reimagine Rock and Roller Coaster. I mean, Aerosmith, I think it's time to move on. And I think people have heard this in the past, and I agree with this. I think it works. I've said this for a while now myself. Melissa can be my proof. It should be a Monsters Incorporated ride as a roller coaster. Where, remember the scene in the movie where they're on the chair, on the doors, and it looks like they're on a roller coaster? They can incorporate that. It can work. And that's what it's going to be. It's going to be a Monsters Incorporated roller coaster.
I would be very disappointed if that's what it became, but I also agree that it should be redone.
That's my drive.
Are you shaving?
Why would you be disappointed?
Because I don't think. Look, Monsters Inc. is as good as it was. It doesn't stand the test of time as a standalone ride like Toy Story does, in my opinion. Like Toy Story has its own land, it can stand that. Monsters Inc. is great. Don't get me wrong. I like the meet and greet and everything. But for me, again, you've heard me say this before. I think this would be without even changing the layout of the ride, would be an incredible inside out ride with either one of two aspects of it too. The memory ball, you could do something with that, and the whole Bing Bong wagon ride. There is so much you could do with Inside Out in here, and it's already dark. I think it would be great for the concept, and I think there's a needed presence for that movie because I think it's a great movie, and I think it's underrated a little bit. But I think it would work without even changing anything. The memory balls, how they work in the command center, would be fantastic.
Okay. I'm going to go you one better than that. I still think it works better as a Monsters Incorporated. I get what you're saying. Because for me, well, no, it's your turn, but I'm going to touch on what you just touched on in a minute.
Well, that kind of is my pick.
Oh, okay.
That was second on my list. So
okay, One Stop Mouse, welcome in. By the way, everybody, good channel. Go check them out. Next for me, Steve. You touched on Inside Out. It's my next thing. I'm sorry, but I think the Indiana Jones Stunt Spectacular has had its time. That's a gigantic area. I think that area needs to go and needs to be reimagined into an inside-out land. That's what I actually had. I had it as an inside-out land with a dark ride, table service in some way. It can be a meet and greet in the morning for breakfast and maybe lunch, and in the evening it can just be a table service with no meet and greet, so you get the best of both worlds. I think that's a good place for that. They can put a nice ride in there, whether it be a dark ride or a thrill ride. Take your pick. It doesn't matter. It's a great area for that, and I think it fits well in Hollywood Studios. That's where I was putting Inside Out for me. That was my next pick.
I would be okay with that. I would like to see Indiana Jones stay. This is where I think Indiana Jones is. I think this is where it belongs, and fittingly next to Galaxy's Edge. But I agree, the show needs to go, and it needs to change. That was going to be on my list later down the road. I think they need to reimagine that whole area to an Indiana Jones area, to where you can meet and greet Indy. And there could be a couple different rides or something, and something else, whether it be whatever we're talking about land wise or whatever. There's a real need for some good quality quick service restaurants, in my opinion, in Hollywood Studios.
I agree.
And I know the barbecue place is going to come, and that's going to be fantastic. But there's still, I mean, you could still put one there. You could put one over by Indiana Jones. You could put one in the new area between Sunset Boulevard and Toy Story Land. You need good quick service restaurants in this. There's just so much room for possibility in Hollywood Studios.
Yeah, I agree. 100%. And I'm fine with that too, Steve. If they made that an Indiana Jones area land, that's fine. I love Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
And you're right. It does fit. It fits for sure.
And that show takes up so much space.
Tons of space. We're not even talking about what's in the background.
Yeah.
Yep. Orlando Mike says, hey, Walt and Steve, doing triple duty. I'm watching the stream, the new Cricky. It's the Irwins about Bindy's wedding, and designing my NFL draft stream thumbnail. Good for you. Multitasking for sure. And Christy says, I've watched Indiana Jones once and I'm good. but I'm not big on the show unless inside so I can cool off. Yeah, and see, it's not inside. We've done the show a million times. It's the same thing. I'm ready.
It's a good show, but
it is a good show. But I mean,
it follows my philosophy that it only sustains the test of time so much. Now, for people that only go once every so often, it's great. Mm-hmm. But for us, we're not going to go watch it every trip.
Right. And Candy Mom, Cynthia, you're right. It takes up a ton of crowd. It does.
Which is why I think it needs to be a land and not one simple ride.
Mm-hmm. Melissa, you're right. Hollywood Studios needs a restaurant overhaul. I'm not happy with Hollywood Studios as a whole when it comes to the restaurants.
Yep.
Yeah. All right. Well, next one for me, Steve, I'm going over to Galaxy's Edge. I got to make changes to Galaxy's Edge. I'm sorry. For as great as it is, there are some opportunities over there. And the big opportunity for me is they have yet to do what they promised they were going to do. They said that it was going to be fully immersive. We would see aliens walking around, droids riding around. They haven't done that yet. And we're almost a year into this park being open now. Okay? At some point, they got to pony up with what they said they were going to do. I do not feel like I'm in Star Wars land. Seeing Kylo and the Stormtroopers here and there and Chewie and Rey every once in a while, that's fine. And that's great. But we need to do it. And they haven't done it.
To be fair, it technically has only been open for 6 months with people there.
It opened in August.
It opened at the end of August. So you have September, October, November, December, and you have January and February. They closed down in March. So
I seriously doubt it was on the list for March or April.
I'm not saying it wasn't, but they're gonna do that. That's gonna happen. But we've only been around for 6 months of it being open. So I think that's going to be great. I think that the crowd levels are still high, and that's the reason why they don't have the droids running around. I also think that navigation through Galaxy's Edge is a little difficult, and I think that that might be hard for some of the droids to get around. But they do have some meet and greets in there, and they're getting some things lined up. So I think it'll be okay. But I think that I think it'll happen.
Right, but here's my thing. You said about crowds. Crowds are going to be there no matter what. Okay.
Oh no, I know.
So I don't know what they're waiting on. If they're going to wait for the crowds to go down, then we're never going to get those characters. So I think that ultimately, if they said they're going to have them, they need to start incorporating. That's all I'm saying. That was one of the things I would change. And I think you froze on me, Steve.
Am I there?
Oh, there you go. Now you are. And One Stop Now says they are discussing a timeline to have the Mandalorian and the Child become Galaxy's Edge characters. What do you guys think? That's fine. That'd be great.
Yeah, I'm not opposed to. I understand that you're in this immersive world where you're there. I have no problem with people from the Kylo Ren being there. Like, I know a lot of people have problems with it. Again, I think Star Wars fans are out of their minds. Some of them are out of their minds. They have no business complaining about the things they complain about. But I have no problem. There's nothing that says somebody couldn't come from this. And when they built it, you're stuck in that time. You're stuck at that point in time too. It's not like, oh no, so-and-so died in this movie and they're in, it doesn't matter. Characters have died in Disney films and we get meet and greets with them and things. So it's just part of it.
Yeah. Russ says, I'm afraid it's one of those things that they said they would do, but cut due to budget and figuring out how to deal with the crowds. I hope they didn't cut it. If they cut it, I'm going to be upset because that's part of the immersiveness to me.
Yeah, and they could add it without it be wandering solely through the parks. They could have aliens and stuff walking, real life character people walking. The droids, they could keep closer to the droid factory as opposed to out wandering around.
Yeah, they don't have to go all over, but just I don't know. And Orlando Mike says it too. He says, they need to add more realism. Maybe that's the word I'm looking for. Realism to Galaxy's Edge, aliens, droids, bounty hunters, smugglers. I get it. And Chrissy said the land is pretty awesome, but the food not great. The ride was open when we was there. Not impressed. Building things, you have to spend so much money to experience the land to the fullest. Well, I said that from the very beginning, and it's one of the things I said. If you're not spending money, there's nothing else to do in Galaxy's Edge unless you have the two rides. But if you're not spending money, what else is there to do?
I just like the immersiveness of the experience. You go to Oga's Cantina, you can walk around, drink the milk.
But you got to pay for the milk.
You
got to pay for Oga's. Well, that was my point. Is like for instance.
It's still an entire environment you can walk around in.
It's great. No, I agree. The environment is great. But Toy Story Land, you've got meet and greets, you've got Slinky Dog, Toy Story Mania, and Alien Swirling Saucers. And you got a couple little shows.
So you have 3 rides in Toy Story Land and meet and greets. You have meet and greets at Star Wars, and you have two massive rides, which they could add maybe the two biggest rides in the entire land. Over on Sunset Boulevard, you have only Tower of Terror and Rock and Roller Coaster, which needs changed anyways, and the rest of that's all shopping. You have a show, but they could add a show. They have shows in Galaxy's Edge near the X-Wing, all the planes and stuff. I mean, they have the same stuff over at. Realistically, that's all they have in this park too. Is the outside the Indiana Jones and Star Tours, which I think they need to somehow figure out how to get Star Tours over to incorporate that with the Star Wars land. But outside of that, the rest of this is kind of a boring park. I mean, it was a half-day park per trip for me before they built Toy Story Land and Galaxy's Edge. The rest of this just is not as impressive for me, the whole entire thing, which is next to my list, by the way.
Oh, go ahead, please.
So I know they put in I know you love the Chinese theater, and I know they put in Mickey's Runaway, which I haven't done yet, but I think the Chinese theater needs to go. And that whole area between Animation Courtyard all the way around to Commissary Lane, all those buildings behind it, they're in the way. You need to tear that down, open it up, put something in those that people are actually going to go want to experience. Now, I'd experience them because I like pretty much everything they do, but that's a lot of non-adventurous buildings. There's a ton of non-adventurous buildings in there. Now, I get the fact that the One Man's Dream is there, which I like. A lot of people don't care that it's there, but there's a lot of space there. There is the Frozen attraction, which I like, the sing along, but from the Animation Courtyard all the way around to Commissary Lane, and there's even a building in front of that where the Frozen show is. Theater. Yeah, well, yeah, but see, I'm okay with them getting rid of all the theater and everything too, because it's a neat experience. You get to sit in a car. Let's retheme it. Get rid of the stupid old movies on there that aren't very good, and let's put you in a car of Cars or something and show something else better on those screens.
Right, but to be honest with you, Steve, it wouldn't matter what they're showing on those screens. I'm not in there to watch the movie. I'm in there for the immersiveness of I'm there for the food, and I'm there to be in the car. And that I'm not.
I would agree with that. I would agree with that, but I have the movies deter me from wanting to eat my food watching those movies and hearing the noises. It's not a welcoming atmosphere to eat in.
Gotcha.
So
okay.
I would be okay if they put me in the cars and didn't show anything on the screen.
Yeah, I would too. I mean, the screen doesn't matter to me.
It's the movies to me. The movies that they're playing on there are not something I want to watch when I'm trying to eat.
Yeah, no, I understand. I totally get that. I understand that. I could see where it would turn you off for that. Sure. Absolutely. Anything else over there at Galaxy's at Hollywood Studios? For me, that was it. I just had a few. I just
needed to expand. It's not big enough. They're expanding. They got Toy Story Land. They got Galaxy's Edge. They need a superhero land. They need something else. There's so much room to expand too that it just needs to be bigger to draw the crowds and draw more exciting things.
Yeah, I agree 100%. Chrissy says, man, I want to have these discussions on the STDT. It would be entertaining for sure. Hey, have us on. We'll be more than happy to talk about them. Spilling the Disney tea, by the way, everybody. That's what that stands for. That's the acronym. Yeah, we love having these conversations, especially when we do what would we change, what would we not change. There's so many different things that we go into. And what's great is, and I know Steve agrees, there's so many great ideas from the people in the chat too.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Some great stuff in the chat. I mean, everybody's coming up.
And the fact that we don't always agree all the time, I think, makes it more entertaining too. Because
sure,
we're like, hey, yeah, let's do this. Okay, yeah, let's do this. It would be boring. So Walt and I definitely we're incredible friends, but we do have differing opinions.
Yeah, but what's great about it is we both know that we can voice those opinions without
and be respected. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely. But we have a great time with it. And when we do agree, it's like earth-shattering.
Yes. It's like, what just happened?
Especially if it happens more than once. No, I'm just kidding. But you know what? It's just one of those things, like Disney has done a really good job over the years with really finding great ways of coming up with original stuff. Okay, original content has always been something I've tried to drive home from the beginning. Original. Be original. I hate Tower of Terror. I hate it. It scares the heck out of me.
I know.
But it's so original. It's one of the best original rides Disney has ever come up with.
And it fits because it's a movie in Hollywood studios.
Yes. Oh, I agree. But it's so great. Steve was there today. I rode it with him, and I was scared. It scared the bejesus out of me. But it is such a great theme. The queue, the ride, the story, everything about it. And it's so original. And it's what I love about Disney. Like Steve goes for the IPs, I go for the originality. And you have both. IPs
IPs can be original too.
Oh, absolutely, they are. They absolutely original IPs.
But I fell in love with Disney because of what I see at Disney. I want to go to Disney World and see the same aspects.
Gotcha. And I fell in love with Disney because of the movies and stuff. But I fell in love with the parks because of the originality of the parks. That's why Magic Kingdom has always been my favorite, because they have so much non-IP original content. Pirates, Jungle Cruise, Haunted Mansion, Big Thunder Mountain, Space Mountain. They're all non-IP stuff.
Well, I consider some of those IP. I consider Pirates IP because the Pirates of the Caribbean.
Yeah, but the ride was well before the movie.
Oh no, I'm not saying that. But that's what my point is. I'm okay with the rides, but I think they should incorporate the IP into them like that. Or like the Small World in Disneyland has those characters added into it.
Oh, yeah.
I think they could do Space Mountain like they do Disneyland, which I don't want to give away in case anybody hasn't seen it. But that's fantastic with what they incorporate in there. They could easily incorporate IP into these rides, and when they need an upgrade. And a lot of people think they'll incorporate Nightmare Before Christmas into Haunted Mansion at some point in time.
They might. They haven't done it. I don't know. If they haven't done it in all these years, what all of a sudden changes that they say, okay, let's do it here?
I'm just saying they could.
Yeah, they could.
Maybe that's what Bob Chapek wants.
Yeah, it could be. But I think part of that is, I don't really know that Bob makes that decision. I think they leave that up to whoever that like for instance, what's the guy, Josh D'Amaro.
Yep.
He may say, no, I don't want it in Disney World.
I'm sure he could be influenced though.
Oh, he could be. Yeah, he definitely could be. But then you're undermining him being in charge.
Hmm?
But
he's got a boss too. So
he does have a boss. He does. I agree. Magic and the Mouse TV says, Mouse Talk, you sound like a friend of mine. When we go to Disney and go on Rock and Roller Coaster, he screams like a 5-year-old girl. I do on Tower of Terror.
If you haven't seen the pictures or the video, please go watch it.
Yeah, it's really funny. I love Rock and Roller Coaster. I'll ride that 100 times with you. I can do anything. I just can't do high and straight down. I just can't. I can't do it. It's just
that ride gets me every time when I think we're done and they throw you back up into the air and pull you down, and then I'm not sitting down anymore. I'm this far off as far as my seatbelt will go. Yeah. And I've always looked up to make sure that cage is still up there because I'm always worried I'm going to come out of that. But when they bring you down that last time, they bring you down faster than gravity, and you come out of your seat.
Yeah, it's true, and it's a great look. Tower of Terror is a great ride. I just cannot do the straight drop. That's all. I just can't do it. It's just not my thing. Like even Dr. Doom's free fall over at Universal Studios, it's not anywhere near as high as Tower of Terror. Not even close, but I can't do it.
Yeah.
I just can't. Well, guys, there you go. That's how Steve and I would change Walt Disney World, the 4 parks. And thank you all for joining us. Everybody in the chat's been fantastic, as usual. But first and foremost, I want to thank my partner right over here. Steve, thanks for being here, buddy. This was fun, wasn't it?
Oh, dude, it's a lot of fun. I like the incorporation of Disney into our show, and I think we need to do more of it, even when sports comes back. But I like sports too. But I think the Disney aspect of it, including into it, these kind of shows where we get to do our own thought-provoking answers is pretty special. I like it.
Yeah, I do too. It's one of the things. Again, we're Disney. We are Disney channels for the most part. Your channel, my channel, and most of the people that come in here. But every once in a while, it's great to kind of change it up and do some sports talk. But we do our best to incorporate some Disney for sure. Yep. So there you go, guys. That's our show for today. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Again, thank you to my partner channel, Steve. Thank you to Dean over at the Live Place. Check them out, liveplace.com. For family-friendly streams throughout the week. Right after me at 9:30, follow me. Shep is going live tonight. Be sure to check out the Shep family. Head on over there for Ryan's stream tonight. I'm sure Steve will be on there and a few, maybe some other guests as well. Check them out. Tomorrow morning, 11 a.m., I will be having brunch with Dan, Disney Dan, and we're going to be on the Disney Nerd Herders channel. Charlie and Stacey are having us on. We're going to have a fun time.
I actually got a postcard from them today, so
I did too, but I'm going to share it tomorrow on their stream.
I'm going to share mine on Monday. So
right. So we're going to have a great time tomorrow as well. Check us out on Tuesday night.
Thanks,
Melissa and I are going to be doing pop culture night. Not going to tell you exactly what we're doing just yet. We got a few things planned and tons of changes coming. It's going to be awesome, guys. But thank you for joining us as usual. And until next time, take care of yourselves and each other, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye, everybody.